Hi there. You want to see something really cool? Of course you do. Let me show you. What I've got here... look at that. Are some Landsat trading cards. Yeah, let me show you. So, these are great for teaching about imagery. So, for example, let's take a look at Illinois. You can really see the urban area of Chicago, and you can see some of these incised and etched upon the landscape rivers, the Illinois River, and so on. And you can teach about, I think, the most important thing to teach about is that remote sensing is incredibly useful to society. And you can teach about spectral bands. Why do certain spectral bands in the electromagnetic spectrum reflect certain kinds of wavelengths? And how can we take advantage of those wavelengths to sense things about the Earth's surface? For example, certain kinds of wavelengths are used to detect things like pine beetle infestation. And certain kinds of wavelengths are used to make digital elevation data, for example, LiDAR data. And what about the wavelengths that are used to detect ore bodies underneath the surface? There's all kinds of things that you can use remote sensing for, and they're greatly expanding year by year in society as we have more sensors that can detect better spatial resolutions, but also spectral resolutions, the fine detail, and the different spectral bands. So each one of these you can use. You can even hold up this card, for example, and guess the state based on the outline. But I think more importantly is to teach about remote sensing with these. But you can also have a lot of fun with these. You could ask, for example, which state has the nickname Old Line State? Maryland, so here it is. And what is that big estuary there, and why is that important to plant and animal habitat, and what kind of threats does that Chesapeake Bay estuary and bay have from urbanization, from agriculture, from pollutants, and so on? How have we made progress in protecting the Chesapeake Bay versus perhaps what it was like in 1970? So there's lots of things you can talk about using these. And why does this state have these two pieces on it? That's fascinating. Using these remotely sensed images. So I got these from the USGS, and I've got a whole series of these, obviously 50 of these in this case. But you could print your own from, for example, the Change Matters site from ESRI. You could print some of these from the USGS or from NASA, and you could make your own. You can go on to ArcGIS Online, for example, and look at satellite imagery on ArcGIS Online with a whole bunch of different spectral bands. You could use ArcGIS to analyze the Earth's surface with different spectral bands and detect features and so on, detect change across the landscape over time. So there's lots of things you could do with remote sensing images, and but this is one fun way to just sort of get the students excited about that. And those are the Landsat scenes. Another neat thing about those is you can get these cards from the USGS, for example, for Earth shots. Earth shots are a series of really fascinating images around the world. For example, the Aral Sea and how it's changed over time, or Lake Chad, or even Central Texas and urbanization, that sort of thing, for example. So Earth shots is another site you should go check out. But again, you can get printed versions of these, but you can also just easily pull these up on the web. So take advantage of these to enhance your instruction and to talk about why remote sensing exists and what benefits does it have to society and how it's expanding and will really impact our everyday lives. In fact, it already is. Thanks.